Salam and hi everyone. Today we are going to be looking at one of the exercises featured in the PT3 paper, which is the error correction. Before we go into the exercises in detail, let's look at the benefits of learning how to correct errors, especially when you are trying to learn another language. Okay, so what are the benefits? Okay, according to Council and Parkdale, it is a way to develop competence of language learners in a second or foreign language. It can also be used in order to attain conscious knowledge of a second or foreign language and in learning the language's rules. Okay, so even without exams or tests or any types of formal assessment, error correction is still a skill that is beneficial and that will definitely help you in improving your English competency and accuracy, especially in writing. For PT3 paper in particular, there are some language items that are often tested. These are noun, verbs, pronouns, preposition, conjunction, articles, adverbs, adjectives, subject-verb agreement, and tenses. They may also test you on spelling, but this is not very common. Okay, there are a lot of things actually that we need to revise before we start correcting our errors, especially when it comes to basic grammar rules. Okay, so right now let's revise on the language items that you may be tested on. Okay, alright. So of course, before we start revising, you need to make sure that you know the parts of speech in English, which is the word classes. When you are writing English sentences or in English sentences, there are nouns, pronouns, adjectives, verbs, adverbs, prepositions, conjunction, interjections, and so on. And these are the things when you know the basic rules of these parts of speech, I am sure that error correction will be easy for you. Okay, so the first thing is nouns. What are nouns? Nouns are words that name a person, place, thing, or idea. So there are many types of noun in English. Okay, you may pause the video if you couldn't read it fast enough. Okay, I will not go into detail about the rest of the type of nouns. You may read it here. Yes, please pause the video if you need to. So this type of nouns, please make sure that you are familiar with them. Okay. Next one, the verbs, which are the action words in a sentence that describe what a subject is doing. Okay. These are, of course, verbs. You have regular verbs and you also have irregular verbs. Okay, regular verbs is quite easy. You know that you can simply just add s, or when it comes to past tense, you simply add ed to it. But for irregular verbs, the forms changes. So please take a look. The form changes. So please take a look at these 50 most common irregular verbs. Okay. Again, if you need to pause the video, you may pause it so that you can read through the notes. Next is subject-verb agreement, which in my opinion is the most important thing of all, where the subject, which is the noun of the sentence, and the verb must agree in number. What does it mean by that? So if you have a singular subject, you must also use this verb: is, was, has, does, or verb ending in s or es. Okay, and rule number 2, okay, if you have a plural subject, you need to use these verbs: are, were, have, do, or verbs without s or es endings. And for you and I, because we are special, so we use our a separate set of rules. Okay, so I use am, was, have, do. Okay, and of course verbs ending without s. Okay, and of you we use are, were, have, do, and verb ending without s as well. And you need to pay attention to the uncountable nouns too. Okay, for example, hair is uncountable, so you use singular verb. My hair is dry. Okay, so these are the notes in detail. Pause the video if you want to take a look and take note of these important bits. Next, let's take a look at pronouns. Okay, so pronouns it depends. Pronouns depend on the subject or the doer of the action, which is the subject lah. Okay, so here you have I, so you know that I. If it's an object pronouns, you use me. Possessive, you use my. Possessive, you use mine. Okay, and reflexive, you use myself. So for this one, you need to be familiar with it. So if it's a male, you use he, him, his, himself. If it's a female, you use she, her, hers, herself. Okay, those are the things that you need to keep in mind. Okay, there are of course other types of pronouns as well, like this. Okay, indefinite pronouns. Okay, and then relative pronouns. Okay, these are the relative pronouns is quite important as well, especially when you want to know which of these WH question words, WH relative pronouns word to be used for different contexts. Okay, for example, who, you use it to refer to people. You don't use where, you don't use when for people. Okay, next one is preposition. Preposition, a word used to link nouns, pronouns, or phrases to other words within a sentence. Okay, these are some of the examples of prepositions. Okay, pause the video if you need to take note on them. Okay, next one is conjunction. What are conjunctions? Conjunctions are words that link other words, phrases, or clauses together. Okay, we are familiar with this. We use conjunctions in our previous tasks. When we are writing articles, we use conjunctions a lot. Okay, but of course, conjunctions, there are many different types of conjunctions as well. We have the fanboys, we have the subordinating conjunctions, and also the correlative conjunctions. Just you need to just be familiar with them. Okay, the next one, number 6, are articles. Articles are words used to modify a noun. Okay, for many English second language learners, okay, this is one of the most difficult thing to master, because especially in our own language, we do not really have an article. Okay, it's like a placeholder. Okay, so how do you know which article to use for this person or this place or object or this idea? So look at the note here. So and the, when do you use them? Please pause the video to read further. Okay, next one is adjective. Adjectives are words that describe the qualities or states of being, the state of being for nouns. Okay, so basically adjectives are the descriptors. Okay, you know, if it's a man, what kind of man he is. Is he a handsome man? Is he a tall man? Is he a dark-skinned man? Something like that. Those are adjectives. Okay. And of course, adjectives, the rules of adjectives that you need to keep in mind are that they have to appear in an order. Okay, for those who were in my class before, okay, you know that we learn about the royal order of the adjectives. So what are these ordered? Okay, first the determiner, and then the opinion, size, shape, age, color. origin, material, purpose. Okay, but you need to remember that we do not use all of this in one sentence. We rarely use it, okay, in one sentence. But you can have, for example, the beautiful young woman. So you make sure that you have the opinion first and then the age later, okay, before the subject, which is the woman. All right. Next one, adverbs. What are adverbs? Adverbs are part of speech that provides greater description to a verb. So for adjective, they describe noun. Adverbs describe verb, how an action is done. Okay, so there are many types of adverbs as well. Okay, these are some of it. These are adverbs of place, adverbs of time, adverbs of degree, which I think you are most familiar with. Adverbs of degree, you know, something like running quickly, running fast, walking slowly. Okay, ly, the ly adverbs. Okay, those are the most common one. But of course, adverb does not necessarily have to have ly, as you can see in the notes here. Okay, and last but not least are the tenses, which I think also is a little bit tricky to master. Okay, so what are tenses? They are different forms of verbs. So they describe when something happened. So is it in the past, is it happening in the present, or is it going to happen in the future? Okay, so here are the basic tenses. We have the simple present tense, simple tense. We have the continuous tense, perfect tense, and perfect continuous. And you can see simple present, simple past, simple future. So these are the things that you also need to master. So how do you understand when to use these tenses? Okay, here you can see the arrows. The arrows represent, the arrow represents the timeline. Okay, so you know that it's in the past. It goes on the left here. Okay, the left here is in the past. The future is to the right. So you see where you should use it. So I had studied English, so it means that they are in the past and it is done already. Okay, so I have studied English. It is in the present, but it is also done, but it is in the present time. I will have studied English. That was a future simple, so it's in the future and it could probably be done by that time. I will have studied English. I will have studied English in school next year by June, for example. Okay, that doesn't quite make sense, but I think you get what I mean. Okay, all right. Oh, that was a lot, isn't it? Okay, but don't worry, I know that it's a lot of work to revise all these basic grammar rules, but remember, we are in this together and practice makes perfect. Okay, so be positive, we can do this. Now that we have revised the basic grammar rules, let's try to answer some questions. Are you ready, people? Just brace yourself. A lot of questions are coming your way. Okay, let's take a look. Write one word to correct the error in the space provided. An example has been given. The correct word must not change the meaning of the sentence. These are the common instruction that you will see in an exam paper. Okay, so this is the first exercise, the first example. I will read it out to you. My name is Siti Amira binti Ahmad. I am 13 years old and have just started secondary school. The name of my new school are Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Petaling. And here you can see that A has been underlined and bolded, and the example given to you. Okay, the correct answer is. You cannot use R for this part because school is a singular subject, so it should use is instead of are. My friends and I loves our new school. After school one day, my mother will pick me up and we will have lunch together at home. At 3 p.m., my mother will take me to my tuition class, which is from 3:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. I is back home by 6 p.m. just in time for tea with my parents. Then I will spend some time unwinding by playing games in my iPad or watching TV. At around 7:30 p.m., I will start on my homeworks. On weekdays, I'm in bed by 10 p.m. On weekends, my mother takes me to the state library to learn some books. In the evenings, my parents and me will go to the park. I will play a game of chess with my father down a shady tree while my mother reads a book. I really enjoy being close to nature and breathing in the fresh air. So there are 10 errors here that you need to correct. Okay. You may want to pause the video if you were not able to read the text carefully. Okay, now let's check the answer. Okay, the first one is given to you already, which is is. My friends and I love is it loves? No, it's not. Okay, the correct word is love. My friends and I. So there are two subjects there, which makes it plural subject. So plural subject use verb without s or es. So it should be my friends and I love our new school. After school one day. Is it one day? Not if it is a particular day, then it's okay. But here we are talking about routine, so it should be after school every day. My mother will pick me up and we will have lunch together at home. At 3 p.m. my mother will not takes, it's take, because you know that after models like will, can, shall, should, would, okay, after models it is always root word, it is always the basic word. So my mother will take me to my tuition class. I, not is, I am back home just in time for tea with my parents. Okay, parent refers to on either your father or your mother, but if you are talking about both of them, you use parents. Okay, then I will spend some time unwinding by playing games on my iPad, not in my iPad. I know that they are inside your phone, but we use on, the preposition on. Okay, at around 7:30 p.m. I will start on my homework, because homework is uncountable noun. Okay, all right. On weekends, my mother takes me to the state library to not lend, borrow. Okay, this is vocabulary a little bit. Lend means meminjamkan. Okay, to borrow, meminjam in bahasa Melayu. In the evenings, my parents and I, not me, my parents and I will go to the park. I will play a game of chess with my father. Chess with my father. Not down, it's under. This is another preposition as well. So these are the correct answers. Okay, you may want to pause this video to take note of this. Okay, if you are ready, let's take a look at another one, because I'm not sure. Did you make an error? If there is an error, was there an error? Let's try again. Okay. As you can see, I really love memes. Okay, now I will show you the question. Write down your answers on your own notebook. Okay. Let's take a look. I am lucky enough to have a dozen aunts and uncles. Of all my uncles, I like Uncle Ben the more. Not the more, the most. He is 32 years old and he is an English teacher at local primary school. I liked him because he is the only uncle who takes the time to talk to me and help me with my study. He pays particular attention to my English as I am weak in this subject. On Saturdays, I go over to his house and he tutors me for free. In exchange for his kindness, I help him to clean up about his house. On the other hand, among all my aunts, I like Auntie Cindy the better. She is my father's eldest sister. She has a great sense of humor and always make me laugh. Every Saturday I pay her a visit. She lives only a stone's throw away from my house. Not only do she treat me with delicious food and cakes, but she also bought storybooks, comics and clothes for me. My mother says that Auntie Cindy spoils me, but I don't mind. Okay, so let's see whether your answers are correct. Okay, I will not read through it again. Okay, let's take a look at the answers. Okay, as you can see, the tenses that we should use for this particular text is present tense, because you are talking about people in general. Okay, so I liked. The clues are already in the text. I am, I like. So it cannot be, for A for example, it cannot be I liked. So I like. Okay, maybe you should try again. The last practice. Okay, now write down your answer. Let's see whether your answers are correct. Walter Elias Walt Disney was born on December 5, 1901 in Hermosa, Illinois. He attended McKinley High School in Chicago, where he takes drawing and photography classes. At night, he took courses at Chicago Art Institute. In 1923, after spent a number of years in advertising, Disney headed out to Hollywood beside his brother Roy, and Disney Brothers Studio was born. Disney soon began to make cartoon films. In 1928, the short film Steamboat Willie was released, introducing Mickey Mouse, who would later become a mascot of the Walt Disney Company. Disney's first full-length animated film, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, premiering in Los Angeles on December 21, 1937. In the past 5 years, Walt Disney Studios completing another string of full-length animated films such as Pinocchio, Dumbo, and Bambi. More than 100 features were produced by his studio. In 1955, Disneyland theme park in California opened its doors. Before long, Disney began plans for a new theme park in Florida. It opened in 1971 under the name Walt Disney World. Okay, and these are the answers, the correct answers. As you can see, there are also there is a spelling and a grammar grammar errors that was tested, which is the Disney Brothers Studio was born. Okay, B-O-R-N, born. Okay, so I think that was quite extensive. Our revision was quite extensive already, and for this week I have prepared quizzes, more practices for you to check whether you really understand how error correction should be done. Okay, and also to test your skill as well. So please click the link in the description box below to do the online quizzes and test your skill at correcting errors. Okay, so are you ready for it? Okay. Alright, so I guess till next time everyone. Okay, in our class for our class next week, please stay tuned and don't forget to fill in the attendance form through the link that I have already shared in our WhatsApp group or Telegram group. That's all. Thank you. Assalamualaikum and good day everybody.